Shannon, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, heading into the Miami game, you guys have a big challenge, that, and then a quick turnaround. But based on what you guys have done so far this season, where would you like to see your team be more disciplined defensively?
Yeah, I don't know if there's been one area that's been glaring, Shannon. So I think different games present different challenges. I don't think there's necessarily a common theme. I know against Wake Forest we had struggles with our post defense, which in other games it hasn't been an issue. I thought we did a great job against Virginia Tech, but we let our guard down against Wake Forest. With a young team, communication is always something that we're going to try to improve on and get better at. I think our team does a pretty good job, especially given our age, when it comes to communicating on the court and helping each other defensively. But I don't think you've ever arrived, if that makes sense. Whether it's communication on a ball screen where the screener slips, you don't want to get stuck with two players on the basketball and now one free man. So there are a lot of different areas that need to get addressed each and every game, and each and every game presents different challenges. So just the intensity and the consistency in our effort, that's something that we want to continue all throughout the year.
Go to Fred and then Kent.
Hey, Coach. Fred Calgill, WOKY. Are you about where you expected to be for January 15th, given all this roller coaster ride? And the latest on Charles, is there a chance he might play tomorrow?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have an expectation of where we should be, especially during the pandemic. We just come to practice with the intention of getting better and trying to improve, and obviously focusing on our next opponent, whoever that is. And we've had a few glitches in the schedule with teams not being able to play because of COVID, and we're not the only one. So we were well aware that was going to be an issue throughout. As I said the other night, Charles is a guy that we got to continue to try to get minutes for. He's got to earn it in practice. He's got to show that he's closer to form than closer to injury, and he understands that. And so every time we have an opportunity to practice, we get to put eyes on him and feel like we can assess where he is. And if we feel like he can help our team, then he'll be out there.
Hey, Chris, Kent with WHAS 11. Before last game, you had kind of said, and Sam even said it after the game, you guys had a great conversation kind of leading up to that game. And then all of a sudden, he has this huge bounce back game, big results. What does that say about him that you guys can have that kind of conversation and then all of a sudden, like, it almost completely changed?
Well, I think you should be able to have that type of conversation with every player on your team. Just being forthright and honest with the player where you feel like he's not living up to capability level. Sam cares greatly about how he plays. I think more than any guy in our program, he's in the gym on his own more than any guy. And the amount of work that he puts in, he deserves success, but deserving and earning it are two different things. And so I was really happy to see him, really play hard, as we talked about after the Virginia Tech game. I thought he ran the floor. I thought he was engaged on both ends. He didn't concentrate fully just on the offensive end and try to get things happening for him. I thought he was engaged defensively. And so I said, if you get lost in the game, trying to play hard, execute the things that the coaches are preaching going into a game, generally good things can happen for you. And, sometimes he takes a little bit too much between the ears and thinks, almost too much. And it's just, let's just play with a ton of energy and play with confidence and know that your coach has a lot of confidence in you, because I do. It was great to see him bounce back with yesterday or the other day's game.
Kent, you had another one?
Yeah, I did. Just real quick. He's been on the report the last couple of games. Just, is there an injury update on Aiden? I've never heard of anything as far as maybe if he was banged up or something like that.
Yeah, so he injured his groin. It's been a little bit of an ongoing issue. It gets aggravated, and so he was sprinting in a drill, and it really started to bother him. So I think he'll be out for 1 to 2 weeks from practice, and obviously that'll prevent him from playing in games.
We'll go to Shannon and then Fred.
When a team like Wake Forest has thrown a bunch of different defenses at you, do you cut back on your set plays offensively? Do you go more with concepts, or how do you kind of deal with the changing defenses that are trying to stop you?
Yeah, we've been less set play oriented this year. The pandemic is part of it. I think that we have two high-level guards that can push the ball and make plays off the bounce. So we've been a little less set play heavy this year, which is a good thing. Again, we want to play with a little bit more pace. It was hard early on with so many games in such a short period of time with a few, guys being out. That's how we want to play. I mean, set plays, we've got to be able to execute when we run them. Wake Forest did change a lot of, not necessarily defenses, but the way they played ball screens. And it's a little bit up to our guards to understand that. And that's something that we work on with them, all the time, before and after practice, during practice, changing angles, understanding what you're looking for. And Dave and Carleek, I thought handled it pretty well, depending on the different coverages that, Wake Forest gave us. When they went zone, I think the easy thing to say the other night is, hey, we didn't handle it well in the beginning, but if you really watch each possession, we got great shots. Handling it well and making a shot are two different things. We weren't frazzled. We got a wide open three in the corner by Josh Nickelberry. We got a wide open three from the top of the key by Carleek Jones. There was one errant possession where we didn't do as well. But other than that, we got some really good looks. And, that's all you can ask. And then you got to, if you miss those looks, you got to try to do a better job on the offensive glass.
Fred?
Coach, how much of a challenge is it playing 3 games in 6 days? Do we make too much of it? And is this something that actually gives you some equity come March in terms of playing games very quickly?
It may. I think that it's a challenge. I think every team in the league at some point, Fred, has this type of challenge. I don't like the times. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how many extra viewers they're going to get an 8 p.m. game versus playing us at noon. I think the ACC made a mistake when they did that, but we'll play the game. We're not going to make excuses. Hell, college guys, they're up to 2 and 3 in the morning usually anyway, right? It's guys like me that have a tendency to fall asleep in the second half. Although some fans probably feel I do fall asleep in the second half.
All right, we'll go to Matt and then Kent.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. You were just talking about Aiden's injury. How would you describe the overall health of the team, and how much did that game against Georgia Tech getting postponed help you guys out?
We're getting there. I think any team during the course of the season is going to have bumps and bruises, and you don't feel 100% going into practice. I know Quinn Slazinski got banged up the other night in his shin. Prevented him to practice, from yesterday and then today as well, but should be good to go for the game. But, that stuff happens. And you just got to get through it. I mean, we're a lot better place. We're in a lot better place today than we were in late November. I can tell you that.
To Kent.
Chris, you guys are always pretty detailed with your scouting reports. Miami's been a team that's kind of been banged up, throughout the course of the season. Is that hard to maybe really scout a team when, there's been guys in and out of their lineup?
Not really. I think that if the two players that you're talking about are McGusty and Likes, and, if we had never played against them before, or I had never seen them, or our staff had never seen them, maybe they were a transfer or a junior college player, or, McDonald's kid coming, off an injury, and we hadn't seen him, like Sharif Cooper at Auburn, then that might be different. But we know who Chris Likes is. He's a magician with the ball. He's quick. He can score it. McGusty's really, really good. He's got good size for a perimeter player. So, if those guys play, we're well aware. And it doesn't really change a whole lot of how they play. It's not all of a sudden like they have, a run game and they've been a pass-oriented team, leading up to it. So it doesn't change a whole lot. Obviously, they'd have a lot more talent on the floor.
Coach, thanks for joining us today, and everyone, thanks for joining us. Again, we will not do one of